Hey, Midnight Sun here. We're back with our video again, and really exciting moment last time. We found a band of might that was primal, which was absolutely awesome. Now, in terms of our current one, it's much to be desired, and we still need to get a socket on here. We're rocking that critical hit damage right now, but we really do need that socket. We're going to start putting all three of our gems on and leveling them up. So what's the point of leveling them up if we don't have the actual gems needed for them? Now, I do have quite a bit of some of the other ones, so I'm going to go ahead and try to just craft it with what I have on. And later on, if I don't have... What am I doing? Later on, if I don't have enough to get the socket, I'm actually going to convert gems from the bulk of excess other ones and craft as many as I possibly can because I'm determined to get a socket in this stupid bandamite. The other one was much nicer to me. Alright, and that being said, obviously one of the best ways to get some gems... Oops, forgot to clear out a new level. One of the best ways to get some new gems is going to be running through those visions. You can run into the goblin level and they can drop you 100 gems right through there. The chest does drop you some gems, and then it also mixes in some other items as well. Since we've unlocked primals, that also means that every single legendary that drops could give us a primal that we could scrap. So that's kind of the main reason I'm doing that, and then I need to build up a whole lot of revealed crystals and reusable parts and all that other stuff anyway. In anticipation of possibly dying, I need enough materials to be able to work my way back in by converting stuff if necessary, or by upgrading weapons or items. So that's kind of the point where we could start being a little bit more reckless, is when we have that backup stash to be able to jump back in it no problem. And I almost need to die. I don't like saying that, but I almost need to die to figure out how much I can push this barbarian, because I've almost died probably, I don't know, 9 times in the process of making these parts. Honestly, it's kind of hurting my heart a little bit here. All of these near deaths keep worrying me, and I feel like it's bound to happen. But I would like for that to happen doing a GR 110 or something, you know? Where it's like pushing really high. Alright, hopefully we get a portal here. You can see that our dashing around does a really good job of building up fury. By the way, what classes did you guys go for this season? Are you guys also doing barbarians, or are you choosing like the really powerful necromancer? You playing like your favorite build? Maybe it's witch doctor. Kind of curious. I keep kind of looking at all of the different classes, and for each class I've got an ideal build I would say that I like to play. But when I'm looking at the ideal builds for all the other classes, they're pretty much all stuck in C tier or B tier. And of course, the Necromancer is the only thing in S tier. And then there's 1 or 2 of the other builds in A tier. So it makes sense that all of mine are going to be in B tier here. So I'm not sure if I want to rock them on hardcore, especially given that they're so much lower quality than the others. Alright, we got some Rift Guardians right off the bat. I think that guy almost killed me last time, so I'm going to take him out first. Second, I guess, technically. Some elites. We're already getting legendaries on the second portal, which is good. This could be a sign that this is going to be a short vision. But since we only got 1 over here, maybe we'll get a longer one, like 5 or 6. Okay, I think that was a Ramalani's gift that just dropped, which is one of the things that we needed for the altar, and one of the other reasons we came in here, because the increased amount of items in here means that we have a good chance of getting those, and yes, it was. So we'll go ahead and just go straight back to town, and we'll go ahead and sacrifice that and see what we need next. We're making really good progress on the altar already. And I've got a few other items on here that I do need for the altar. I found that ancient puzzle ring right away too, so I won't be stopped by that. All right, so we could do pets pickup. Could go the recommended route. And we need 1,300 blood shards. So this is going to be a major chokehold point for us. Once we unlock the 1,300 blood shards, we'll be able to go like boom, 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 boom through the altar and get a couple more of them. No problem, because we've got all the materials we need for it, basically. But until we do that and get those blood shards, we'll probably be stuck here for a bit. Now, softcore, we're not stuck at all. We'll just run greater rifts until we get it. And we have enough power that we don't mind dying. But obviously, again, can't die once, can't die at all. I shouldn't have jumped down here. This isn't very safe. I'm testing out how well the pets are picking up these death breath and stuff now. Normally, I like that because, again, I can just kind of keep moving. But the pets aren't very snappy in Diablo 3. It does... You can definitely tell that they put this feature in on Season 29. Maybe they tweaked it a little bit for Season 30 when the visions came out. But then they just kind of left it alone and didn't do any more. And it's kind of like, okay, no, you need to make this a little snappier. You need to make this a little bit quicker. Because I've had it, especially when you get a whole bunch of goblins. You'll sit there and wait for the pet to pick up the items, and it'll act like it's frozen. And then it'll pick up, I don't know, 40 items all at once. 40 pieces of death breath. Or it'll scrap 40 salvageable parts. And just sit there again for another 5 or 6 seconds, not really doing anything. Now, for the most part, you get so much items through here that it doesn't matter. You can kind of just run around in a circle, and your pet will pick up, again, the bulk of it. And it doesn't matter if you lose 20 or 30 death breath here and there, because you'll be in the thousands. So, like right over there, all of that should have been picked up earlier. Alright, we got a green ring, green pants, and an almost death there because I dumb and stood in some poison. And I really feel like the poison shouldn't be hurting that much. Alright, he's scary. We'll get rid of him. And he's scary too. Alright. So we got some more Greater Rift Keystones there. We've stacked up quite a bit of those. And we're overburdened. Normally, if I get a lot of Greater Rift Keystones, I just kind of run Greater Rifts. Now, the reason I'm kind of trying to save them a little bit and get some of my power elsewhere is because I don't want to farm a lot of Greater Rift Keystones. Might as well use them on higher Greater Rifts where they produce more levels and more impact to me. Our ring drawer is starting to fill up, our amulets. Now, a lot of those are still yellow rings, which I don't really need in there at this point. I've got so much extra loot stacked up. But I never know when I'm going to upgrade something, so I'll leave a few of them in there for now, and maybe some of the other stuff I'll clear out. Alright, I don't think I need to store anything else, and I'm pretty sure the rest of this could be scrapped other than the Warzetchian. That's used for certain speed builds, and the depth diggers too. But the rest of this stuff can be scrapped, and I'm slowly going to be approaching the point where if an item isn't ancient, I'm just going to scrap it. And then if it is ancient it ancient and useful? So when that happens, we really kind of speed through and do the rest of this no problem. All right. And if you're ever wondering about those like little cuts where I'm seemingly not doing anything, it's because I had to pause to go get some food, get a drink of water, answer somebody, answer the phone. So that's why those are paused for a while there. Now, we can do a whole lot of these. And the reason we're getting so much of these is because of the broken crown that the follower has. It goes off of our gem. We have diamonds in our gem, which means that we're going to be getting a whole bunch of diamonds. And we're going to convert these over to rubies because I am determined to get a socket in the Bandamite. It has been way too long. It needs to happen. And I say that, but while I'm doing this and converting these, more than likely what's going to happen is I'm going to convert to about like 81 of these gems. And then I'm going to go over to the enchantress and I'm going to click on it and she's going to give me a socket within the first time enchanting it. So that's almost always what happens. The game senses that you've made a huge investment and want to change things, and then it says, here you go. Or alternatively, what's going to happen is I'm going to burn through all of these gems and not get a socket because the game thinks that's funny. So I'm not sure what it'll be. I'm hoping for some kind of middle ground. I don't mind burning through like 10 of these gems or so. Ideally, I'd like it to be about like, I don't know, maybe 10 actually. 10 seems like a good amount. Seems like I needed to invest, and it doesn't seem too bad of a loss either. Let's see how long it takes. Okay, socket finally. I think that was about 6 times, so not too bad. And then we're going to go ahead and put those there. I get that that's not the typical spot I put them, but it'll have to do for now. I forget I'm in these portals sometimes. Wait, no, we don't want to exit. We want to leave game. I cannot tell you how many times I have exited this game on accident thinking I've left it. Now, we can only do this because this area is completely safe. No monsters around. Debating changing the difficulties, and then I realized with how many near deaths I've had, it would for sure kill me. Alright, so we're going to try and get another vision here. And again, I'm hoping for some primals, hoping for some better resources. Maybe some slightly better items to throw in the stash here. I don't think I put on any ancients. I tried to throw them in the stash to make it so where I can actually build up to augment on them eventually. And so far, the dashing, I like the switch. The leap build was pretty good temporarily, but this is working great. Activate our Call of the Ancients so we can kind of spam Seismic Slam. And you can see there the cooldown with Call of the Ancients. Even when I have the passive to reduce the cooldown for Call of the Ancients on there, it is taking a whole long time for it to finally come back. I've got to wonder, is there like an overpowered build that uses Call of the Ancients or something like that on there? Could there be any possible reason for the cooldown for that skill to be that long? It doesn't seem very useful. I mean, Wrath of the Berserker, you know, we can keep activating or spamming, and that's a great buff. And you can see there, let's see, probably goes about half the time. So it stays active, and then by the time it's not active, it's got about half of its cooldown left. So compare that to Call of the Ancients, which is way, way, way shorter or longer. Oh, okay, we got the goblins. That's perfect. And you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier. So I click on the gems. All of this other stuff should be picked up aside from a few items. And you can see the goblins sitting here kind of struggling to go through it. I got to stand here and wait. And then when it finally gets rid of them all, I can go around and pick up the items that it left or missed on the ground here. So, again, good rule of thumb, We just got a whole bunch of items. We'll go through and move some stuff around and make sure we've got everything that we need in the right spot. And then we'll go back and clear out the rest of that. And we got an extra weapon, so we're going to obviously keep that. And it's ancient. Perfect. So I'm not sure what I'm going to end up changing off of that, but it does look like I'm losing a little bit of the actual boost to the power on that one. So it's not a good ancient, but it is ancient all the same. All right, so we're still plowing through these guys pretty easy. Doesn't look too bad. We have necrosis on our bar. That just went away. And again, I noticed like in the barbarian, because of the molten gilder beast and stuff, if I'm not hit hard, I'm full health 100% of the time. As soon as I get hit though, I'm almost dead. So it's not a very fun way for me to play. Okay, we got the elite level here. And they're all dying pretty easy. I have to be careful to not ignore one or two elites in here. More elites. We're going to activate our Call of the Ancients in hopes it carries through to the next area, because we're struggling with our resources a bit here. Okay, we got more goblins. This is a double goblin rift, which again is pretty rare. Normally if I get them, they're back to back, so I haven't really had very many chances of them being spread out like that, which is kind of fun there. Again, I typically get maybe like 2 or 3 of those double goblins a season. So that's really nice. We came in here to primarily get resources, and I'm sure that gave us a whole bunch. There's a mighty weapon there. So we'll take a peek here in a second of what our actual resources are looking like. Can I pick up that item? Yes, I can. That's pretty exciting kind of early on here. For the Immortal Kings set, we'll keep that. That's also the Immortal Kings. It looks a lot like Blackthorns to me at first. I almost scrapped it. And the rest of this looks like junk. All right. So look at that. We're sitting at a couple thousand reasonable parts, arcane dust, field crystals, even our death breath is at a good amount, 270 forgotten souls-ish. That's absolutely perfect. One of those goblin levels is great. 2 of them in a run is going to make us feel absolutely comfortable. And that took us like, what, 4 minutes to gain almost... Okay, look at that. 3 goblins. I don't think I've ever had 3 goblins in a portal before. So this is rare for me. I don't know about you guys. Have you guys ever had 3 in a run before? Same vision. And if you have you ever gotten 4? Because if I know 4 is possible, I'm going to be looking for that for the rest of my life. None up here. All right. So again, 4 or 5 minutes, and we just got a couple thousand materials, probably, and a whole lot of gems. We're going to have to store these in our stash right away. I do not want to risk dying and losing all of those gems that we just found. Yeah, look at that. It's absolutely great. Couple, I think we got another like 40 forgotten souls there or so, or maybe 50. So absolutely fantastic there for materials. Now we're kind of sitting at that comfortable point that I mentioned, where if we die now, we've got enough materials that we shouldn't have to worry about coming back. We should be able to convert just fine. We should be able to reforge something even if necessary, although I don't want to because it's so expensive. This is why I like going in those visions, by the way, is the goblins. I still think if Diablo 4 had something like that, where if you killed a goblin in Diablo 4 and it gave you a portal to the vault or something similar, or a portal to not the cow level, Whimsydale, right? That Diablo 4 would be much more entertaining in the game. Now, they do a good job whenever I do play Diablo 4. I actually, depending on the season, I've started the character, I've played it through almost to the end to get to the point where there's mythics. Once I've gotten some mythics, I've put them on alt characters and ran through that and done it pretty well. But to be honest, the start of the game, the seasons and stuff like that, I'm not as excited as I am for like Diablo 3 here. Whenever a new season starts for Diablo 3, I get pretty excited for it, even if it's not a very entertaining season. I love the start process here of like getting your way up to the greater rifts and stuff, and I have been pushing higher each time for the greater rifts and getting closer to a GR 150 clear. So, and now if I do want, I could probably get the GR 150 each time, but I really don't want to invest that much time into the game. Or not want to. I don't really have the time available to invest to do a GR 150 clear. But depending on the build, depending on the season, we should be getting ethereals here soon again. And when we get those, I'm probably going to try and do a massive greater rift push on that one. So, whole lot of items here. It's so hard to look through all of these. And that's where I think Diablo 4 does a good job, is if this were Diablo 4, I would just double check to see if anything has a greater affix. I'd be able to tell in a glance if it does, and then I would just mass salvage the rest. Now, different games, obviously. Diablo 4 came out way after Diablo 3, so I can't expect that to be the case here. But you got to give some credit where it's due. Quality of life changes are probably one of my most important factors when playing a game. If a game struggles with quality of life changes in there or things that would just make your game so much easier, I start to kind of question your decision as a developer a little bit. Kind of like, okay, why not address the things that matter the most to people rather than these small cosmetic changes or small changes in how something functions, which is what Diablo 4 was doing for a long time, is they struggled with quality of life. I remember the horse in the very beginning during the beta. Everyone was kind of wondering why the horse was so slow, why it couldn't be used in town and stuff, and a whole list of other things.
I need fury. Not ready.
Alright, I just had to help my son with a Pokemon question. He's, let's see, how old is he now? He's about 6 years old, and he's been getting into Pokemon. And I haven't showed him like the old games, the ones that I grew up playing, you know, when I was a kid. I've shown him a little bit because the only way to like do them is to emulate them, really. So I've kind of showed him that and some old playthroughs and stuff like that of other people playing the games. And he still likes those old games. He likes the show, but he's been very into the modern Pokemon games, which is like Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. And now he's been playing the Legends games, which are a little bit harder for him to play. So every single day he asks me about 15 Pokemon questions where it's like how to level this person up. Is this person good against this person? And it's like, do I need an item for this item or Pokemon? Where do I get this item? So I'm kind of being bombarded by those every 2 seconds, which I think it's cute. So I'm really excited that he's getting into those kinds of games and stuff. And surprisingly, probably not the best parenting decision. He really likes watching Diablo and he likes learning it. And so far, what I've done is I've given him the Demon Hunter on the PS4 because I do have the PS4. And I went on my account, made a speed version of the Demon Hunter, and I said, okay, Parker, here's what you have to do. You have to press X and then hold down R. And he's been kind of running around the place doing that. He tries to join Alyssa and I occasionally, but it doesn't work out too often for him because he gets frustrated and he doesn't know how to read and do, obviously, the rest of this. It's a complicated game, but it can be simple on the basic level, so... All right. So, we're at Greater Rift 75. And, again, I haven't changed anything about my build here, which means that more than likely we're going to almost die a couple times running through here. Now, while I am going through higher Greater Rifts, I'm also going to be trying to... what's the word here? I'm also going to be trying to include the gem level ups for the Molten Gilderbeest because I need to figure out if there's a damage calculator or if somebody knows off the top of your head what level does the Molten Gilderbeest have to be at to effectively run GR90s without concern. Okay, it's right there. Almost died. And we're on a Greater Rift 75. And I need to be able to clear about a 90 or so. And now here's where I'm running into an issue. If you tell me, oh, you need to get the Molten Gilderbeest up to level 90, or a 100 in order to feel comfortable running GR90s, well, how am I going to get to a GR90 in hardcore to level up the Molten Gilderbeest, without dying? So I'm kind of curious what that's going to be like. If anybody does know, or if anybody does this in softcore and stuff, and you could tell me, like, okay, I'm running the same build as you, and here's what I do to stay alive or to make sure it's fine. This might just be one of those things where I've got to stay here in the lower Greater Rifts, or pretty low Greater Rifts anyway, and run those over and over again until I built up enough Paragon points to be able to stack some Vitality. And all of the other stuff, the crit chance, crit damage. I don't want to die from that fire or that beam. Just watch me weave around that. And we got a shield pylon, so we're safe again. It feels so weird. It feels so weird to me that I have to have a shield pylon to feel safe. I'm probably doing something wrong. Okay. Fully acknowledge that. But from what I'm reading on the build, they give me a couple suggestions to stay alive, but really it's just changing a passive, and the passive is a cheat death, which is great, but I shouldn't need a cheat death here, especially if I'm looking at some of the other classes. I mean, even the Demon Hunters GR speeds and stuff like that on there stay alive better than this thing does because it moves around so quickly. So alright, we've almost finished this GR. By the way, really shortly here, or I guess maybe it's already happened. Again, I'm not sure when these videos are going to be released. If you're part of the membership, they'll be released literally as soon as I finish uploading them. What I do is I go and I upload it, and it's available, and then I schedule it for everybody else so that I have some videos planned out ahead of time. But I'm going to be doing a guide to terms and phrases used in Diablo 3 for like new players. I feel like when I first got on and they were throwing out some stuff like augments, and I'm like, what the heck is an augment? What does that mean to augment your gear? That kind of didn't make any sense to me. And then some people threw out terms like CRs, and I'm like, okay, that cooldown reduction, right? Is that challenge rift? What does that mean? You know? So I'll go through a whole bunch of terms and stuff for new players so that they'll be able to just look at those, jump in the game, and be able to understand what other people are talking about when they're doing their videos, or myself included, if I throw out a term or phrase that's confusing to you. So that being the case, like if you guys want, and when you first started playing the game, what was something that you struggled to understand when other people were talking about it, or what's a term that didn't really make sense? How long after playing the game did you realize that it did make sense? We're doing a Greater Rift 78 here. We're almost to the point where we've reached 80, and I think that's the threshold we need to be able to do the next, what's it called? Be able to do the next thing on the altar for the blood shards. So once we finish this one, we should be good, or the next one actually. Again, it's a little sketchy here. If I don't get hit, I think I'm good, which means I probably just need to clear out more of the enemies behind me. And I definitely got to make sure the Band of Might stays active, as well as my Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients. But I don't want to use them too early, because then I'm worried that I'll go to an area and be hurt and need that Wrath of the Berserker, you know, because it doesn't have full cooldown reduction. So I'm trying to kind of balance that, trying to look around and see what I got around me, how it looks. Don't jump those. This is a good area. This is definitely up there for like my top Greater Rift areas or top Greater Rift zones. That might be a fun video to do too. Could do one on the different areas and explain it. Obviously an orc stream is going to be the best regardless, but I'll give my ratings for each of these areas and what I prefer about them, and then what builds I don't mind them in, because certain builds they're a little bit nicer in these areas, and other builds are a little bit more of a struggle. Alright, we're almost there. Once I have the shield on, it seriously feels like I'm just running a normal Greater Rift. This is how I want it to be all the time. It's like kind of like this. Run through, slam, slam, run through, slam, slam. Alright, so the Rift Guardian's taking a little bit longer to kill. I'm now rank 40. Wow, we've jumped up quite a bit here. And we're going to go ahead and pump this up again.
Your skill, the ancient granted strength.
Do we do this? 81. Can we do this? That's the question. Again, we're killing normal monsters so well through here. It's honestly kind of an amazing situation to see, like, just how much damage we have. And that slowed down a little bit. Alright. Alright, so that was close. I almost died there. Now, I should really start paying attention to the bottom of my screen, like what buffs are active, to be able to tell. My Band of Might is constantly up because I'm pretty much leaping all over the place and charging all over the place. Got a conduit pylon there. And I'm trying to kind of hit and back up a little bit. Okay, there we go. That was scary, so we'll let the conduit do a little bit of the work. Back up. Okay. Might die here. those big guys from the pylons hit really hard. I've never noticed that before. And it'll be a long time until our cheat death comes back on. So we're going to just kind of play from the back here a little bit and hit while moving forward slightly. I probably should leave the Greater Rift or come back after the cheat death is back to normal. But it feels like it's something I can do, you know, and maybe we get a shield pylon, and if we get a shield pylon, we'll be fine. I recognize this is really dumb, okay? So if you're sitting there staring at me going, no, leave, come back, you know, I got plenty of time. I understand that, so don't think I don't. But what's the excitement for you guys if I just play too cautious the entire time? You gotta have some chance of dying. I think I left an orb back there. Alright, we've almost got it. I gotta be careful of those lightning bolts there. There's the shield we were looking for. To see if we'd left and came back, you know, we would have been much safer, but we got it. And we just need to spawn in the Rift Guardian by finding out the correct way to go. Oh, there's some elites right here. Okay, a little closer. So that's not good. Seeing how long that's taking to actually deal damage there, that's way too slow. So we're probably not going to be able to do, at least with the current rate, a GR 110 using the Seismic Slam here. Now, I can boost up these other gems. That's going to help me out a lot, and it's going to probably be able to basically make me get it there. But it's going to be a struggle if that's all we've got for damage right now. Now, that could just be because, again, I was on console recently, and the Necromancer was doing GR 90s with almost no gems in it whatsoever, doing a speed version of the build too, so. Now we can use the Challenge Rift Cache finally. So we've just made it so the Progress Orbs pick up automatically and the Elites get them quicker. The next thing we need is 1400 Blood Shards, which is going to be a GR 90, I believe, which we probably have no hope in clearing right now. So.
Impressive. Volcano smiles on me.
Right. And after I do all of the videos here for the Barbarian, okay, I might keep that. I don't know if it's used for one of the classes for the followers, but we'll throw it in regardless. As I was saying, after I do the Barbarian here and to do all that, I'll probably be switching over and doing a little bit more of God of War because I've officially kind of ran out of pre-made videos. I played God of War. I loved it so much that I just played it for probably, I don't know, 9 hours straight or something like that and recorded a whole bunch of footage. And then I had to go through and look at the footage. By the way, check this out. If we switch over to Might of the Earth here, we're actually rank 7 for Might of the Earth. And we're a few greater rifts from getting up to like rank 5. So we're doing phenomenal for the set that we're doing. And we haven't switched to any of the other sets. So this is really great. I was actually really surprised to see this. So if you're kind of wondering, Hardcore, Might of the Earth, we're doing absolutely phenomenal there. So anyway, I played so much of the God of War games at once that I recorded a whole bunch of footage and went through it, and I haven't gotten the chance to get back to it. And for the God of War gameplay that we're doing, by the way, guys, we're doing it on Give Me God of War, and it's the first time I've ever played God of War, so we started on the highest difficulty. And the reason that I'd done that is because I met somebody whose favorite game series was God of War, so they told me a little bit about it. And they said that the Give Me Heart of War was one of the hardest game things to ever play. And I didn't believe that because it just doesn't make sense in my head that God of War would be that difficult of a game. And so far what I'm finding is kind of a mixed experience. It is very challenging, it isn't crazy challenging if somebody who's playing it for the first time, new like me, is able to do it. But what it is definitely going to be one of the more difficult games I've ever played. So I will say that. On the current difficulty, I don't know if I'll be able to beat the game through, so I'm having a lot of fun learning about it as I'm playing it. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because I've also never played Elden Ring or any of the Dark Souls games, which are famous for like kind of their difficulty. And when it comes to game difficulties, I feel like there's certain stipulations you have to put in here. So for example, right now we're playing Hardcore Diablo 3. Is Diablo 3 a difficult game? Not really, right? You can get in here as a new player and you can do a GR 90. Now, how many people have actually cleared a GR 150? Probably not many, right? If you're looking at the entirety of console and PlayStation, or like, you know, all the console versions of the game, if you're looking at PC and stuff, and even when the game was in its height or heyday and stuff, there's probably, I don't know, let's say 4%, 5% of the player base that's doing GR 150s. I could be really off with those numbers. That's just from my own estimates based on people that I met. So, and then when you find out, okay, they've done a GR 150, how did they do it? It's time commitment, basically. So if you go through and you do enough time building up Paragon and stuff, you'll be able to do a GR 150. And then it's somewhat knowledge. You have to be able to understand the concepts of the game, but those could be done in a few YouTube videos, and you could solve it pretty well. There's not too much skill otherwise than knowing what to do and how to do it. There's no actual reflexes or careful planning. And you could just follow a build guide, so they even tell you kind of like what builds to do. So if you contrast that with a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where it's like, okay, you could know exactly what builds to do, and you can know exactly how you're supposed to do it, but then you need the actual reaction time to be able to react to situations, and every single time you run into a group of enemies and bounty hunters, especially in that game, it's going to be difficult to do without actual skill in the game. You get the Demon's Demise there, by the way, and Cluckeye, which is interesting. So I do like challenging games. I do like games that can be frustrating. So if you got any recommendations for some of those to do, maybe we'll try them out a little bit. Obviously, we've got so much stuff on our schedule here for like, we got a whole bunch of videos we still have to make for Diablo 3. We got to try and clear a GR 150 eventually here. We've got to finish off the God of War series, because some people actually are enjoying that game series that we're doing so far there. I also personally really like God of War, so I'm going to stick through that. We haven't had any other new games on the schedule for right now. We're just kind of sticking with these two series or these two games. But I do like Last Epoch, and there's going to be an expansion for console available for Last Epoch. And apparently there's going to be some new classes and stuff. Diablo 4's got an expansion coming out here really soon, and they just released the Paladin, which I haven't even gotten the chance to check out yet because I've been focused on Diablo 3. So I might jump into those games. I don't know if I'll be doing any videos on those a little bit here. I might just kind of try them out personally and see how it's looking, and if it looks good, maybe we'll do some videos on there. I also want to reassure you guys, no matter what, Diablo 3 is going to be on the schedule. Okay, there's never going to be a time period where I say, oh, let's jump to the most popular game and stick with that for so many videos. Diablo 3 is 100% the reason this channel got started, basically. The reason that you guys are here is primarily to watch Diablo 3. So I'm going to 100% stick with that and let you guys have the Diablo 3 content that you guys want. So do not worry about that. We're always going to be doing the challenges. We're always going to be doing the new season starts. The only exception is going to be if I'm hospitalized, which, knock on wood, hopefully it won't be. Or if something really important comes up in my life that I have to be there for. That's the only time I'll be missing a season start, and I will let you guys know way in advance if that's the case. So back to the video here. All right. So we are doing a GR60, and we finally got all of our gems to rank 25 here. So I'll probably edit out a lot of that content so that you don't have to sit there and kind of watch me level them up. But now, okay, look at that. We got an orc stream. If you guys are unfamiliar with orc streams, they are basically an ideal rift where the mob density and the mob types in here are kind of perfect and stuff. There's a guaranteed amount of pylons in here. The elites are spaced in a good way. Now this area is a little too big for me to like really take advantage of it, so I'm just gonna kind of rush through here, hitting every elite and an occasional pylon. There we go, conduit. And then just go on to the next one, because hopefully the next area is a little bit more compact. It'll be easier for my build to take advantage of it. This kind of area is perfect for like an Ina monk. It's perfect for the Tal Rasha wizard. It's perfect for the god set demon hunter. You can kind of just run through here real quick and deal damage all around. But for something like me that has to manually teleport with charge and then swing the hammer in each direction, it's too open of an area. So here, this area is perfect. This is definitely something that would be great for me because you can see I dash forward, slam, slam, dash forward, slam, slam. And everything pretty much dies instantly. And you can also see, you know, I struggled to stay alive on GR70 before, and after getting my gems up a little bit, going through a lot here smoother, and of course the orc stream is helping us out with that. Alright. So if it's a high enough level, I'm still going to be leveling up this Molten Gilderbeest. Really, really need that shield to help keep me alive. And it's based off of life regeneration, I'm pretty sure. And every single time I level that up, I get more life regeneration. And we stored all of our gems recently too, so we're starting from scratch, but now we'll be able to have a huge storage of gems there. And I'm going to try right now to upgrade the relics and stuff here for the Templar in the hopes of getting your follower cannot die, so that I can be more secured when it comes to running through those greater rifts. Now, I tend to do 3 of these at a time to craft and then upgrade, and then I'll scrap whatever I don't use and then do another 3. Just because that feels like the most secure route for me to not spend too much. This is the one that's the hardest to get, is your follower cannot die, because you're looking for, there we go. You're looking for a 1 out of 3 chance of getting it based on the other options. And the game knows you want it, so it's not going to give it to you. All right, 75. So we're starting to approach the point where I can no longer upgrade the Molten Gilderbeest without pushing to a higher Greater Rift difficulty. And I'm empowering it each time I'm going through here, and that's also really expensive. So I probably won't be able to afford that. Which means that here soon I might try and create a Nephilim version of this set if it's available. Or create some kind of Nephilim Barbarian set to run through with Gold Wrap and the Boon of the Hoarder, and just start stacking up millions and millions, or actually billions technically, of gold here to empower the Greater Rifts if need be. Alright, we got some elites there. Again, once I hit like GR70 and above, they're all pretty difficult, and it's taking a few more swings to actually get rid of them here. Look at that. Even I gotta stand in the circle here. Whoops. Okay, it didn't look like that actually triggered a cheat death there. I think what happened was the Molten Gilderbeest's barrier got destroyed, and then it healed me back up real quick. So we've almost completed it here. Relatively safe. We had like one kind of hiccup, and the rest of it's good. We're picking up those progress orbs automatically now, which is nice. That guy was easy. 12 minutes, 44 seconds remaining. We're going through these pretty quick. I think that's an extra ingium there on the ground. Which is good. Maybe it's an ancient one.
I need to go back. Impressive.
Are you ready?
All right. This is 80, so this is probably going to be the last one I empower. Again, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get through this relatively safely. You can see here again, it's taking a couple swings to get out the elites, which means the elites stay alive long enough to be able to hit me and do damage. The regular monsters are also taking a swing or two, and that also means I'm going to run out of fury really quickly. There we go. And then if I ever lose the Molten Gilder Beast, by the way, it's 4 seconds before the shield comes back on. Okay, well, that was close. Sometimes when I'm doing this, it makes me wonder how I did this before. Because I think I did an 81 before, or even an 83. And it's probably the shield pylon. We got double elites, so we got to move back a little bit here. Oops. Not mean to jump into those explosions. There we go. Speed pylon. We really need a shield pylon. If I'm remembering things correctly, when we did this before, we almost died a couple times, and then we got a shield pylon towards the end. And those big guys are taking way too many swings to be able to knock out here. Gotta be careful with those exploding guys. They can definitely kill me. So if I have my Wrath of the Berserker up, the elites are dying in a couple hits, which is good. But if I lose my Wrath of the Berserker, then it's really sketchy. This will probably spawn the Rift Guardian. Gotta watch out for those beams a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely taking too many hits. Maybe, I don't know if, when I look up GR speeds, obviously different classes have different recommendations for what a GR speed is. So for example, the Demon Hunter God set, depending on the season, can do 110 GR speeds and like 120 even GR speeds and not die. So it does absolutely phenomenal. The Pony Satyr can do like 130 GR speeds during the season that they get the double Vigilante belt bonus. And now I'm starting to wonder if when they say GR speeds for the Barbarian here, if they mean like GR 60, you know, and GR 70 solo speeds and stuff. Like, can this thing even do a 90 solo speed? If so, I'm going to have to switch over to the push version of the set. And when I do switch over to the push version of the set, I'm going to have to be very careful. We got an ancient gold wrap there. That's nice. So I will try it out and see how I'm feeling for damage and survivability. But obviously, I got to do it a little bit slower. So I got to start in a lower greater rift and then work my way up and kind of get a feel for it. I don't want to die and then lose all my push versions of the set here. All right, so we've stacked up a whole lot of extra resources there too for sets. And the whole reason that I dropped all of this stuff on the ground and picked things up was to not come back here, but I forgot to talk to Kadala, so I'm going to have to do that again anyway. Okay, we're at 72 for this one. It's the highest gem I have. Maybe I should start building up the other ones, but I feel like I don't want to build up the other ones until I know I'm not going to die, you know? Okay. So, Captain Crimson's, I've got enough materials that I can craft a couple of these. So I'm just going to look through and see if anything's better and to be able to get some extra gems. I'm still rocking low-level gems on my stuff, and I'm not sure, but I could be wrong. I think it's resistances that I'm really hurting for right now. So I'm going to try and enchant some of this stuff out and then craft some higher-level gems. I think I get armor as innate with strength here, which means I don't need a whole lot of armor. We're going to roll that to vitality. And then we're going to go ahead and see, see if we can craft some higher level gems here to put on and reduce the cooldown of everything and give us some more resistances, because it says we need those. So scrap the rest of this. And I think that belt is pretty good already. I don't think there's anything else I could change or add to that to make it any different.
Geed was my father. Maybe you've heard of him. Do come back again.
For belts here, I'm hoping to get a belt for another barbarian set here, but it is not looking good. All right, we're going to push the highest difficulty we can now, which is 84. And I'm a little bit nervous about this. I don't like it. I've almost died through so many of these greater rifts recently. And already, I don't like this area. I feel like this is going to kill me. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and do a better area. Ideally, some of those ones I mentioned earlier, the ones I really like, those are going to be the areas we're going to want to do. But yeah, like nothing tight space like that where I can't back up or leap out of the way for safety. And I didn't realize I was empowering those. I didn't need to do that. That was a huge waste of resources. So like this area seems kind of safe. We got some, I'm really familiar obviously with Temple of the Firstborn. I should be kind of okay in this area. We're going to activate Wrath of the Berserker right away. And our goal this time is to hopefully push to 90 to be able to get that blood shard thing knocked off. Once we hit 90 and unlock it, we can jump down to a lower level and not worry about it. And we're going to be standing in those circles whenever we can for the Oculus rings to be able to do a little bit more damage safely. Okay, that was a big hit. And we lost all of our damage. The Wrath of Berserker goes away and it's a lot harder to stay alive. Obviously, we don't really have a way of getting it back. There's a power pylon, so we should be dealing pretty good damage. Almost died again there. Let's back up a little bit. And let's clear out some of this area. Okay, Ingyom should be triggered now too, so that should be helping us out a little bit. Our followers cheat death activated. This channeling pylon should help us. Okay, that was... Okay, we gotta get out of here. We gotta back up. Alright, I'm not sure what killed me there. Scratch that. I know what killed me there was arrogance. Should not have gone through to that high of a level yet. Our barbarian died. Now, I'm not too upset about this. You can see the actual date that this died on was 12/13. So if you're wondering when this video was made, and that was in 10 hours and 1 minute. So almost 10 hours on the dot was all it took for us to reach Paragon 531. So the actual game time was 10 hours, which is pretty good. Didn't know you could check that there. That's a little disappointing, but we've got some extra stuff in the stash. We'll be able to make our way back to where we were really, really quickly. So don't worry about that. Really all we lost is the gems, which I'm a little disappointed at. So I'll cut out some of that video and show you where we're at next time. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye.